Apie tai, ką Klaipėdos valstybinis muzikinis teatras rengėsi jums pristatyti Žvejų rūmų didžiojoje salėje kovo 17, 18 ir 31 dienomis, jums šioje spaudos konferencijoje pasakos Klaipėdos valstybinio muzikinio teatro vadovė Laima Vilimienė, Klaipėdos valstybinio muzikinio teatro vyriausiasis choreografas Aurelijus Liškauskas, choreografė Alexanderio Ekmano asistentė statytoja Ana Marija Lukačių ir choreografas Robertas Bondaras. Palaikyti pokalbį, kuris šiandien vyks 2 kalbomis, lietuvių ir anglų, padėsiu aš, Klaipėdos valstybinio muzikinio teatro redaktorė Veronika Janatveja. Pirmiausia, norėčiau pokalbį pradėti nuo vadovės, žinoma, kurios prašysiu įvesti mus šiek tiek į kontekstą ir klausti, kaip gimė idėja ar ambicija tokia imtis būtent tokios formos pastatymo su Klaipėdos valstybinio muzikinio teatro trupe.
Labą dieną visiems. Tai dar sykį labai diena visiems. Iš tiesų mes esame tokio ypatingo įvykio prieangyje arba finišo tiesiojoje, nes manau, kad tai yra turbūt kulminacija mūsų veiklos, 5 metų teatro ir ypatingai baleto trupės veiklos. Ir iš tiesų dabar, galime sakyti, kad realizuojasi tai, apie ką mes svajojome. Vienas iš mūsų moto, tikrai Aurelijus neleis man pameluoti, yra išdrįskite svajoti. Ir tai, apie ką svajojate, būtinai įsigyvendins arba tai taps tikrovė. Tai kalbant apie būtent šį vakarą, tai yra artėjantį premjerinį vakarą ir šiuos pastatymus, tai yra 2 nuostabius choreografų pastatymus Alexanderio Ekmano ir Roberto Bondarą. Tai turbūt pradėčiau tą priešistorę pasakot nuo to, kad tas impulsas pirminis, kuris leido rastis tam, kam mes turėsime per premjerą, jis labai netikėtai, bet įvyko karantino metu. Tada, kai mes visi buvome uždaryti, kai buvome nukautuoti tuo, kas vyksta pasaulyje, kai nežinojome, kas bus rytoj, apie ką kaip reikės gyventi ir išvis, ar mes būsime rytoj. Vis tik tuo metu aš labai džiaugiuosi, kad visa mūsų komanda išdrįso svajoti. Ir to rezultatas yra šiandien. Pirmiausia, taip atsirado Robertas Bondaras, nes jis per patį karantino įkarštį tų metų pabaigoje čia pastatė Faustą. Kai atrodė neįmanoma, tiesiog mes buvome jau uždaryti, mes negalėjome kontaktiniu būdu dirbti, bet mes išdrįsome ir uždaroj erdvėj, uždaroj salėj be žiūrovų, mes pastatėme, bet su televizija, mes pastatėme Faustą. Ir tai buvo mūsų kaip Klaipėdos valstybinio muzikinio teatro pirmoji pažintis su šiuo choreografu, nors mes jau esame turėję kūrybinių saitų su Robertu Bondara. Ir šiandieninis bendravimas tai yra jau tąsa to, ką mums pavyko sukurti ir kas įvyko. Toliau sekė, tarkime, pernai mes užmezgėme ryšius ir su Moniuškos operos teatru Poznanėje ir mūsų baleto trupė kaip tik gastroliavo Poznanėje. Mes vežėme Eglę Žalčių karalienę Martino Rimeikio pastatymą ir turiu pasakyti, kad gegužės mėnesį Poznanės teatro baleto trupė atvyksta čia pas mus su spektakliu Bėr. O šiandieninėje premjeroje, apie kurią mes kalbame, tai yra 2 vienaveiksmiai Roberto Bondaros šokio spektakliai, kuo mes tikrai nepaprastai džiaugiamės. Ir tęsiant kalbą, toji mintis vėlgi, kas gimė per COVID idėją, tai buvo pasikviesti Alexander Ekman. Ir mes išdrįsome tada, turbūt 20 metų balandžio mėnesį, pradėti kontaktuoti, kurdami planus ateičiai, tolimai ateičiai, nes nežinojom, kada ta ateitis bus. Na ir laimiai iš tiesų tai įvyko, kontaktas įvyko, susitarimas įvyko ir šiandien, matyt, mes turime tik tai konstatuoti, kad mūsų svajonės pildosi. Ir tuo mes labai džiaugiamės.
Labai ačiū. Tai atsakė ir mano kitą klausimą, kaip pavyko įtikinti abu choreografus, ir Ekmaną, ir Bondarą. Akivaizdu, kad Roberto ilgai įtikinėti nereikėjo turbūt sugrįžti į Klaipėdą. You didn't need much convincing to come back to Klaipėdą, obviously. O kaip buvo su Aleksanderiu Ekmanu? Ar buvo sunku tą ryšį megzti, kaip minėjote, ir ar reikėjo kažkokių argumentų sugalvoti, kodėl jis turėtų atvykti į Klaipėdą, o ne į Berlyną, ar ten dar kažkur, kur Kaktusai šiuo metu yra statomi?
Na, iš tikrųjų, taip kaip ir minėjau, aplinkybės tuomet buvo labai ypatingos. Mes niekas nežinojame, kas bus po pusės metų, po metų. Ir manau, tai mums palengvino dėrybas. Tiek, kad mes planavome tuomet po metų tą pastatymą, bet dėl įvairių priežasčių nusikėlė keliem metams į priekį.
Ačiū. Dėkojame Laimai, labai tikrai gerai įvedė į kontekstą. Manau, kad galime judėti. Jeigu turite klausimų, galite klausti iš karto dabar. Tiesiog parodykit kokį nors ženklą. Nes...
Taip, tie pokalbiai vyko, mes iš tikrųjų pirma idėja buvo kito pastatymo, bet abipusių sutarimų sprendėme Kaktusus pasirinkti, kuris, kaip žinia, yra vienas populiariausių, turbūt dažniausiai statomų spektaklių šiuo metu pasaulyje.
Ačiū Laimai. Dabar norėčiau toliau pereiti prie klausimų vyriausiajam choreografui, su kuriuo nesykį teko kalbėtis ir taip pat jis buvo klausinėjamas jau nesykį įvairiuose interviu ir jau turbūt turi suformulavęs labai aiškius atsakymus į tą patį klausimą. Nesykį jau esate minėjęs, kokia svarbi Klaipėdos valstybinio muzikinio teatro baleto trupė yra šita premjera. Ir mes kaskart pristatydami kiekvieną premjerą vis sakome tuos pačius, kartojame žodžius, lyg užsikirtusios lėlės: iššūkis, proveržis, išskirtinis ir panašiai. Bet turbūt su kiekvienu pastatymu kažkoks specifinis jausmas apima turbūt. Koks šį kartą yra lydi jausmas pasitinkant šitų dviejų perstatymų, būtent ne originalių pastatymų, bet perstatymų premjerą?
Na, jausmas tas pats, kaip ir minėjau visada, kad artėjom prie kažkokio atskaitos taško, nuo kurio reikės atsispirti vėl, tai nebus dugnas, tai bus iš tikrųjų labai aukšta nata ir mes turėsime eiti dar labiau aukštyn, tik aš nežinau kur, nes šiuo metu mes esame tikrai labai aukštai ir reikėtų pamatyti iš tikro mūsų šokėjų veidus. Nesvarbu, kiek jie dirba, ką jie dirba, kaip jie dirba, bet reikėtų pamatyti jų energetinius pliūpsnius ir kaip jie sugeba išlikti savimi, nepaskesti tame savo varge, nes iš tikro visi žinom, kad šokis tai yra sportas ir kiek mes galime šitą maratoną dar vykdyti ir aišku, kai atvažiuoja tokie choreografai, tokie asistentai, tokie nuostabūs žmonės, jie atsiveža savo energiją ir tiesiog aš net nežinau, kas yra svarbiau, ar pats pastatymas, ar tai, kaip yra dirbama iki pastatymo. Aš įvardinčiau gal, kad šie būtent žmonės, kurie stato, perstato, nesvarbu, ar tai senas ar naujas pastatymas, bet būtent jie atneša tą būtent džiaugsmą, tą fantaziją, tą energiją, su kuria mūsų šokėjai eina pirmyn ir svarbiausia yra procesas netgi, aš pasakyčiau. Žiūrovai jau ateina tik tai į patį finišą. į šventę, kaip aš sakau, švęsti pavasarį. ir iš tikro tai, kaip Ana dirbo su mumis, kiek jinai mums davė gero, nežinau, džiaugsmo, patirties ir atsipalaidavimo, tai po to Robertas, jo asistentė, ir tai yra būtent siekiamybė. Na, ir aš visada sakau, kad šokio kolektyvas tai nėra tik išpildytojas, bet jie kartu ir gyvena, jie ir išgyvena, jie kartu ir kūrė kartu. Ir kiekvienas choreografas, aš manau, išvažiuodamas iš čia, mūsų tikslas, kad kiekvienas choreografas išvažiavęs jis norėtų čia sugrįžti. Ir būtent tai yra mūsų siekiamybė. O žiūrovas, ką pamato? Jis pamato puikų reikalą, ką mes ištransliuojame. Bet sakau, prieš istoriją yra daug svarbesnė. Ir kaip dabar, kaip kažkurie tai pasaulyje kūrė naujas istorijas ir bando jas įtikinti žmonės, kad jų istorija yra teisinga, tai ši istorija, kurią mes jau antrą mėnesį kūrėme, tai yra, ko mums reikia ir tai, ką mes galime vadovėliuose tai rašyti, nors aš aišku nerašytojas, bet kažkas gal aprašys, kaip Klaipėdos valstybinio muzikinio teatro trupė formavosi. Tai ačiū labai Anai, ačiū labai Robertui ir tai yra mūsų siekiamybė.
Ačiū. Gal galėtumėt bendrai štrichais, mes kalbam apie dabar emocijas ir apie žmonių įsitraukimą, bet iš tikrųjų per tuos kelis metus, galim kalbėti nuo 18 metų, bet galim truputėlį ir arčiau, kokius 3 metus paimti perspektyvoje. Gal Aurelijai prašyčiau keliais štrichais trumpais, kokios buvo tos viršūnės, kokie pasiekimai, kas jums atrodo labai svarbu trupės augimui?
Jo, tai kas auksiniai scenos kryžiai susirinkti, 3 pilnos arenos, nežinau, kiek ten aplankė mūsų žmonių spragtukę, gal 15 000, kažkur, maždaug. 20 naujų šokėjų, visiškai nauji, pasikeitė, vidutinis trupės amžius 21 metai. Toliau, kas toliau? Gastrolės, choreografai, Martynas Rimeikis, Kirill Simonov, Roberto Bondaros, Alexander Ekman, Edvard Kliuk, taip pat Aušra Krasuskaitė, taip pat mūsų vietiniai, ne vietinis Dargai Žmavts, nors jis kelintą kartą jau statė, taip pat mūsų Darija Verovka, Jan Malaki, dėmesio baletai visi, nežinau, pagauk bangą apdovanojimų krūvos kiekvienais metais, taip pat auksinė Klaipėdos kaukės. Ir iš tikro visko buvo tiek daug, padėkos kaukės, visko tiek daug, nesinori girtis, bet nesinori ir susikuklinti. Buvo tikrai labai daug ir visko, ir Klaipėdos trupė niekada neturėjo tokio derliaus. Nuiminėjom dabar, nežinau, ar čia saulė kažkokia gera, ar kaip tik klimatas tinkantis. Balis tiesiog. Jo.
Ir dar vienas klausimas, norėčiau, kad pristatytumėt šiek tiek atlikėjų, šokėjus, kurie įtraukti yra į šiuos 3 spektaklius, kas šoka scenoje, ką mes pamatysime.
Kas yra nuostabiausia šiame pastatyme, kad visi praktiškai šoka scenoje ir visi gauna pasireikšti. Tai yra Cacti, yra 18, net 16 šokėjų scenoje. Net pats pasiklydau. O pas Roberto Bondaros tai solistai Jan Malaki, Mikhail Mordasov, taip pat Roman Siminienko, Roman Butko, aš jau pats pasiklystu, nebežinau kaip kalbėti lietuviškai, rusiškai, angliškai. Taip pat merginas Aleksandra Brodina, Ana Čekmariova, kuri beje šiemet yra nominuota auksiniams scenos kryžiams. Taip pat Darija Verovka. Kas dar?
Kirsten
iš mūsų brangioji, Aleksandra Borodina. Tiesiog, iš tikrųjų, labai sunku išskirti kažką ir labai džiugu, kad kiekvienam solo vaidmeniui mes turim po 3 sudėtis. Ko anksčiau mes visada samdydavome žmonės iš šokėjus, iš Vilniaus, iš kažkur stengdavomės rasti, kad tik atvažiuotų kas nors, ten talpindavom visos Klaipėdos viešbučius, kad tik galėtų kas nors pas mus pašokti. Dabar visi gyvena čia, visi šoka čia, visi džiaugiasi čia ir visi kūrė čia. Tai yra labai svarbu. Tai yra svarbiausia, manau, svarbiausias įvykis, kuris įvyko Klaipėdoje. Mes turime savo šokėjus, savo solistus, savo kūrėjus. Ir go on.
Ačiū labai, Aurelijau, labai išsamus atsakymai, nepaisant to, kad jūs teko turbūt ne kartą jos kartuoti.
Šitų ne.
Now I would like to switch to English and continue with questions for Anna Maria Lukačiu. And first of all, maybe I'd like to say that productions of Cacti currently, Cacti were first produced in 2010 in The Hague by the Dutch dance company NDT2. And since then, it's the most sought after contemporary dance performance in the world, perhaps. Because the geography of productions, it stretches from Seattle maybe to Wellington in New Zealand. So it covers the whole world. And currently, actually, there are some 5 stagings productions or revivals in Europe alone, and 2 in the United States. One is running from 2018. I can name all the theaters, but maybe it doesn't matter. But just to mention that the company of the Klaipėda Dance Company, it can be mentioned on the same level as companies like Berlin State Ballet, like Innsbruck Dance Company, like Contemporary Dance Company in Lisbon, and so on and so on. So these are the most well-known companies, dance companies now in Europe and elsewhere. So we can be proud of it as well. that Klaipėda was chosen next to Berlin because the next premiere will take place at the Deutsche Oper on March 22nd. So the first question for you, Anna, is that we often mention in speaking about this upcoming premiere about Cacti as a great appreciation, first of all, and a great achievement. But actually, the appreciation part was already discussed by Aurelijus to quite large extent. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm lost a bit. What about the challenges that dancers have to face when staging Cacti once and once again, many times in the world? And can you compare what difficulties and challenges with different groups you have experienced already? And what about the Klaipėda Ballet Company? What challenges were most important for them?
So I think one of the biggest challenges for Cacti, for anyone that is approaching Cacti, is that it's very physical, and the very first section is very rhythmical. So there is a Swiss watch precision to the rhythm of the piece, which is inherent. It goes hand in hand with what the musicians are playing and what the dancers are doing. So to really, really bring that to a place where it really feels like you're watching the perfect mechanics of an organized universe takes a lot of practice. And I think that's a challenge that is universal. The challenge is also of having live music, which oftentimes, our orchestra players are in an orchestra hidden, they play off a score. And in this case, they are of course, seen. They are on stage with the dancers, and they are not playing off a score. So they're playing by heart, which is an added challenge. And musicians in general don't like to be seen very much because they are part of an orchestra and they're part of a team. So when you have just a string quartet that is fully exposed on stage, playing live music by heart and also improvising in sections of the piece, I think it is an extra challenge, especially for the orchestral part of it. I think the challenges here, if they can be called challenges, were, Alexander has a very particular style of movement, and also it's more than that. It's a bigger vision. It's an entire artistic world, which a lot of times is interpreted as humor. And yes, there's a lot of irony and there's a lot of humor, and that is very much contained in the text of the piece. And we talk about this a lot with him, about the dancers not trying to act funny or not being funny themselves. The situation that they find themselves in is humorous and has a lot of irony, but it is oftentimes interpreted by the dancers as something that they need to put on. And the challenge is to strip down all of that assumption and really get to the bottom of what is honestly there, already inherent in the movement and in the entire production itself. So it's always to pull back what a dancer always wants to add on some artistic or sort of interpretation, and to really just keep it honest. And I find that's also a universal challenge, but it comes stronger in places that have less experience with this kind of work.
Actually, I've seen some lessons of Ekman's movement of technique on YouTube. Actually, how to execute certain moves quickly, slowly, and then quickly. Try to do it in tempo, and that's really a difficult task, I must say. Yeah. But it's very interesting what you say about comicality. That dancers should not feel being clowns, in an ironic work. Yeah, they have to be sincere. And what about Ekman saying that we can observe and understand works of art the way we like? What do you think are the main themes behind this work, which are also present in the text?
Oh, well, I could talk about this for hours, but I won't. I'll keep it short. I think oftentimes when you go to a museum or you see a work of art, you assume that there are a lot of hidden meanings behind it, and oftentimes there are. There's always the story of the artist that made it, or the composer that composed the music, but we like to add on meaning. We search for meaning. We want to hook ourselves onto something that we understand, and oftentimes there's nothing behind it. It's just a piece of work. It's just a piece of canvas with a painting on it. And I think Alex also has of course, like all artists, like Robert as well, I'm sure, has a relationship with the critics who come and write. My mother is a theater critic, so I talk about him with him about this a lot.
So you are vaccinated already?
Yes, I'm totally vaccinated with the whole art world. But we talk a lot about how the reviewers come to a show and they critique a show and what they, their perception of what they've seen. And again, there's so many layers that are often added to these critiques that have nothing to do with original intention of a piece. So I think he likes to poke fun at that. He likes to point fingers at that. And this idea of higher art, what is it and why can it just be what it is, what you're seeing in the moment? So the text has a lot to do with that. It's very rich in that kind of irony and that kind of commenting on the comment already. I don't know if that makes any sense, but...
Yeah, but actually it has also the intonation. It's a highbrow critic
precisely
just making notes, what he sees or he doesn't see on the stage, what he would like to see and he doesn't get it, and so on. So it's a very interesting layer another layer in the performance, and I'm happy that we had a chance to publish the text, the whole text,
I
and
think that's-
translated it also so that people could relate and understand it in their native tongue.
And then to have that in contrast with the text of the duet, which is just very basic thoughts that are passing through the dancers' heads, that is it's the commonality of that versus the highbrow critic who is envisioning so much more than what is actually on stage. I think about this as, wine tasting, when they give you a glass of wine and they say, there's traces of nuts and berries, and you taste it and you're like, it tastes good, but I don't taste the nuts or the berries, but sure, same with coffee. Like now we try to add these deeper meanings to all of the things that are the most basic and they've been with us for so long. So I often think about that in comparison to Cacti, because I think it's a similar thing. It's just dance with cactuses everywhere.
Yeah, but it can be compared to Dada art, for example, when you question what is it, the object you see on stage, but still you can attach any meaning to it. But the main thing is to question.
Absolutely.
My next question is about you as a former dancer and now choreographer and assistant. You come from a very interesting place, from Bucharest, from Romania, which was still Ceausescu maybe when you were a kid. Then you got a scholarship, aged 11, and you went to Canada, and then also you studied in the United States. After finishing your career, you started your freelancing career, obviously, and now you can choose where to work. And you had a proposal to work either in Berlin or in Klaipėda. You chose Klaipėda. So what were the motives for you to decide to come here, not to Berlin? And what are your impressions from your first visit here in Lithuania? And it's a very specific place, not to the capital city, but this mid-sized city which has its own dance company and a very specific history.
It was obviously the sunshine. I was really excited about the weather. No, I'm kidding. It was not. I had been to Berlin many times. I have, I know that town quite well, and I'm always curious about new places, especially places in the East, precisely because I am from the East and I've been gone for 33 years. But of course, my roots are here. My roots are on this side of the world. When they suggested Klaipėda, I thought, absolutely. I had never been to Lithuania. I'm curious about the Baltics big time. I think it's an amazing place. So I said, yeah, let's give me a weird one. Anything that's strange and bizarre and that I will not understand a word of, I'm happy to go into. I've done that my entire life, so I'm just continuing my motto, which is go for weird. And my impressions have been, limited to the studio because that's where I've spent most of my time. Aurelius has kindly taken me to the seaside, which he also promised that in the summer it's much better, which I have to believe because right now it's a little bit hard to...
It's quite hot.
Yeah. So I've had beautiful impressions also from the Coronian Spit and from the beaches, and but mainly I would have to say is the impression is just that the people have been extremely welcoming and kind, and the company has been a joy to work with. They're all so young, and I feel like I would like to spend months with them just sharing information and trying to make them understand how special this place is and how much a part of that they are right now. I don't know if they are aware of the sort of upswing that the company is experiencing. So for me to be a part of that and to witness that and to sort of be inside it, but also at the same time watch it from the outside is extremely exciting. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity and for a chance to be here and to also meet Robert and to meet new people always in the industry. I think it's super exciting. So yeah.
So many nice words to hear, actually. There is a saying, curiosity killed the cat, but obviously the cat survived and even enjoyed the process.
It might. You never know what the next one is. So it killed that cat. I won't say more about that.
Yes,
you'll see.
There is a cat also we will see on stage. Thank you, Anna.
Of course. Thank you.
Now the mic goes to Robert. And I will make a short introduction, also to remind you some facts. You are not the name we have to introduce in Lithuania and Klaipėda, of course. Obviously, you already staged two evening length ballets or dance performances here. And for Faust, you were even nominated for the Golden Stage Cross. So it's rather an achievement here. But we know very little about your work in your native Poland. Starting from the Grand Theatre in Warsaw and ending with the Grand Theatre in Poznan. So these two short compositions produced by you 10 or so years ago, they offer a very nice glimpse into your early work and into your work in your native stage, so to say. And both works were created for the project that was called Creations, Kreacja, at the Grand Theatre in Warsaw, where you had a chance to try your hand not only at choreography but also at stage decor elements, music as well. And that's what you continue to do in some of your performances, if they are not originally ballets or operas or something else. And my first question may be, as you mentioned in one of the emails we corresponded before, that you like, this is not the word perhaps, but you prefer a wider perspective on choreography, which helps you brace all the elements of the performance. Is it true?
It's true. Yes.
And is it then some kind of conceptual art form for you?
Actually, yeah, I started reading choreographies quite a long time ago, and it's true. It was at the very beginning in Polish National Ballet when I was a dancer there. I was participating in choreographers' workshops, a project that gives the stage to the dancers, allowing them to create new works, but also experiencing other things related to the production of the theater, of the performance. So it was light design, a lot of things, also like the managing of the project and so on. So yes, those two works were created at that time, but they lived after that as well, like 8M68. It was also staged in United States, so later on.
Where?
So it was in Kansas City. It was a project, moving arts project, for example. I think I had one more staging. Anyway, yes, I'm looking at the performance not as a piece of choreography there. I'm looking at as a whole. So I'm looking at every staging element that I'm putting together, and this is how I'm building up the meanings behind that. So it's equally important for me, like the music, dramaturgy, light, set. Very often when we have a bigger production, I'm trying to merge the set with the movement. So I'm looking at all those elements from the very, very beginning of my work. So there are some basic things that didn't change till now. What I see, what is changing sometimes my language, my experiments, because I'm working with many different dancers. Some of them, they are less experienced in classical ballet, but they have more experience in contemporary dance, contact improvisation, sometimes working with the ballet companies, so they are more familiar with classical ballet technique, but still they are versatile dancers. So we are trying to go beyond, like we all know, go beyond like comfort zone, go beyond like the set patterns dancers already know. So I think this is the principle of what I'm doing, trying to create something different, go beyond our things that we are used to do. I don't know. I think this is important for me.
And also when you are at the beginning of your career, you are alone and want to try many things by yourself maybe, and then you meet various people, many different artists, and you have many different collaborators. For example, in Faust or in Čiurlionis, we saw in Lithuania you had beautiful teams of people working together, all powerful artists by themselves. And after those premieres, one of our main critic, Helmutas Šabasevičius, he noted that your directorial approach and plastic language, choreographic language, they form an organic unity, and this characterizes your style as a choreographer.
Maybe. Yeah, you know, actually, yeah, as I said, like it's really important. So of course, when I'm creating smaller works, I'm able to prepare costume, light design, and I really like to do it, especially light design. Obviously, when we have a huge production, like full-length performance, like in Čiurlionis, it was like the whole ballet company, almost like the 40 chorus members. So it's like big production. It's rather impossible to do everything, and I really cooperate with other talented people. So we are creating like the project together because they are specialized on what they are doing.
And
And I really like to cooperate with people that I can find common language, common like kind of idea about the aesthetics and so on. So it's true, when I start working on the performances, yes, I start working on the concept of the performance, but really early on this process, I start to cooperating with other artists from other art forms to build up this work together so it's coherent at the very end of it.
Yeah, that's very important. Of course, your work is very varied, diverse, but we are talking now about two performances we are going to see on Friday. So in Hiccup and in 8M68, you seem to have delved into psychological themes, into psychology, human psychology. How do the themes such as the relationship between the ego and superego of the personality, the mechanisms of interpersonal relationships, they can be translated into plastic language, into choreography? How you do that?
Those two words, we might say they are abstract. They don't have any meaning behind, but very often when I'm working, I'm finding inspirations in many different areas, and one of those areas is psychology itself. So yeah, those two pieces are kind of connected a bit because Hiccup indeed, it has a lot of common in our inner world, how we are cope with that. And 8M68 is based on the relations between the dancers, and this was the basic principle when we created the piece, and later on we were discovering some meanings we didn't expect it to discover actually. So this is how the process looks like. So yes, like the Hiccup, as I said, it's focused more on our inner world. Yeah, sometimes we carry like a baggage of experiences, but also our personality that we cannot escape, because wherever we will go, we cannot run away from it, and it will be always with us. In 8M68 is a different story a bit, because this is a story about the group, about the relation in the group, how the power in the group is changing, or how people who have huge influence suddenly might lose the control. So there are a lot of things hidden inside.
The mechanism.
Yes, but to be honest, I'm not expecting that the viewers will discover exactly the same what I see in the piece, and I think this is like important, that audience should have the freedom and courage to discover those pieces individually, because they meet this piece and they have their own experiences, they have their own life background, and this relation will create actually the meaning of the piece.
Yeah, this is the thing they can relate to, of course. Maybe it's a nerdish thing to ask, but what exactly 8M68 means?
I won't tell you.
Okay.
No,
It's a secret.
It's a secret, but yes, it has a meaning. And the very difficult thing was for me to create the title of this piece that could kind of brought all this group together. And working with the dancers in Polish National Ballet, we figure out that. But Yes, it's a secret. Actually, just a few people in the world know.
Secret code.
So you might ask audiences what they think it might mean.
That's a good thing to ask them.
I didn't reveal this secret yet. Yeah, so a lot of just a small group of people know what this means.
I noticed that the music you use for your performances, it is quite revealing too. It says much about you and says some things about your performances as well. The choice I find rather sophisticated and providing not only energetic drive, but also sometimes semantic or conceptual impulses to the dance. For example, Hiccup begins with Jack Nitzsche's theme from well-known film, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And then it is followed by the tracks of Polish experimental electroacoustic music composer, Michał Jakaszek. And in 8M68, you use music by Brazilian electronic visionary, so to say, Eamon Tobin. And tell us more about your musical inspirations, maybe, or about your taste or choice for music.
Actually, I'm using the whole range of music types in my performances. It's classical music from Baroque to really challenging contemporary art and music. It's sometimes more popular. I was creating the pieces to Radiohead, for example, but same time I'm using electronic music. So in Faust we could hear Chopin, for example. So
Arvo Pärt,
Mozart. Yeah, so it depends, actually. It depends, because from the Hiccup, I think the idea was born at the very beginning of it. So the choice of the music were actually because of the idea, because we know where Once Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is happening. So I think there are small things that might deliver some extra information they might use it, they might not use it, but it's like another layer. So when I'm building up performances, I think this is good work. I'm thinking about it like many layers, so like a huge sandwich, and sometimes viewers might choose some different things, and it's right. So the music choice it's really important because it creates the full performance. With Amon Tommy, obviously, like the energetic impact of the music
very powerful, slow, pulsing rhythms.
Yeah, and again, what influenced the musical choice, it's also the dramaturgy. Yeah, how it helps him to create the dramaturgy of the performance, and yeah, and what does it mean? Yeah, what I want to say, and what I would like the audience receive on many different layers: intellectual, aesthetical, emotional, and yeah.
So the audience is likely to leave with their mouths full with the sandwiches.
I hope so.
Thank you so much. Maybe a few words about the forthcoming tour of Poznan Grand Theatre, because it's confirmed now, I believe, that you are coming late in May. Can you tell us about the collaboration between Ekman, you, and Martynas Rimeikis? How did it happen into 3 performances? We never saw, I haven't seen, for example, Blind Words by Martynas. Ekman revived his episode 31 from Juilliard School, I think it was made there in New York. And you have also remade your own Take Me With You to Radiohead's music. So can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, I think it's also a very important piece for the company. We started working on it long before the pandemic came, and actually we had to postpone the premiere like a few times. And at the end, we decided to stream it online. And actually, we recorded last moment because a week later, all borders were closed. So, and we had collaborators from states, from Lithuania, like Martina and so on. So it was very stressful time for me from ballet director perspective. That I was surprised that we managed to do it, especially that the company went through COVID. We have a lot of COVID cases, and we didn't know, are we able to do it or not? So So it was something amazing. During the 24 hours, more than 25,000 people saw the performance. So it was really
Televised on national television or where?
No, it was online. It was only online. It wasn't on television. But obviously, like the contact with the radio heads and management and the band was very helpful because they also spread the information about that, like Tom York and Johnny Greenwood as well. So yes, we had Alexander Ekman, which was really amazing to work with his assistant and online with Alexander at the time. I have a feeling it was very important piece for the company because I don't want to reveal too much, but the performance starts with the projection and dancers are sharing their feelings about the process, how the performance is created, and at certain point of the process they are going to the city and they are dancing this piece in the city. So it was very important to bring the whole group together because it was at the very beginning of my tenure in Poznań Opera Ballet, but at the same time go to the city to our viewers. Martyna's remake is created completely new work for us. And I know Martynas, she was dancing in my performance when I was
Čiurlionis, main part.
Now he's a ballet director with Lithuanian National Ballet, and I was very happy to bring him to Poland because, again, he is also a creator who never worked in Poland, just like Alexander. So I think this is one of my goals, to bring those choreographers who never work in Poland. And yes, I created, in 2016, I created a duet called Take Me With You to Radiohead music. It became very popular. Roberto Bondaros with Melissa Hamilton were dancing in many different solos around the world. And I always wanted to expand the choreography, so I created also one-act ballet for the whole company, and this is the third piece of Triple B. So I'm very happy that we can show this performance here in Lithuania, here in Klaipėda. So hope to see you in May.
Ja, necessarily. Mus pakvietė visus į Poznanės didžiojo teatro gastrolės čia Žvejų rūmuose. Čia gegužės 27 dieną bus rodomas triptikas, 3 dalių šokio spektaklių vakaras, kuris vadinasi BER. O BER tai yra 3 raidės, kurios žymė 3 skirtingų choreografų pavardės. Tai yra Bondara, Ekmanas ir Rimeikis. Ir tai yra vienas iš jų yra originalus kūrinys Martyno Rimeikio, Blind Words, akli žodžiai, o 2 yra, vienas Roberto yra praplėstas, jo ankstesnis darbas, Take Me With You, pagal Radiohead muziką, ir taip pat Ekmano yra perstatymas iš New York'e pastatyto Juilliardo mokykloje Episode 31, 31 epizodas. Ar turėtume dabar klausimų, nes mano kaip ir išseko sąrašėlis, galėčiau dar paklausinėti, bet jau gal ir pavargome klausytis. Aš žinokit irgi ne baleto kritikė esu, bet tenka. I don't know, maybe some few words, but it's not necessary really. How do you find the changed company, because it's different now from what you left here in 2 years ago?
Yes, changing of the company is a long process. It's not happening during one season. I'm also experiencing this because it's like my 5th season in my company, and still I see a lot of room for improvement and change. Of course, COVID is not helping. So I think the huge challenge for the ballet companies, it was going through the COVID and keep the quality of the company. Yes, here the company is vibrant, young. They are still developing, so there is still room for a change. But we can see that each step make the company stronger, and this is what is, I think, the something really visible.
And what about the war? Because Poland is the first country to receive refugees from the Ukraine, and as well in Klaipėda, 70% of our company, or now it's a little bit more than half, think are young Ukrainian dancers.
Yeah, I'm sure it influenced the company much more than my company, because I don't have so many Ukrainian dancers. We were helping Ukrainian dancers and bringing them to the company, offering them work, place to stay. Yes, it's true that at the beginning of the conflict it was really difficult, because at a certain moment we have 5 million of refugees from Ukraine. So it had huge impact on the situation in the country and in our company as well, because we are doing our best to help. So yes, we focus on that. Now the situation seems like to be more stable from this perspective. The war is still there. We still have to cope with the problems connected with this, but kind of the migration problem is a bit more under control. But here, yeah, it has crucial impact. I can imagine with so many Ukrainian dancers. Imagine yourself being far away from home, worry about your relatives, friends, close people, and seeing how your country is destroyed. So definitely it had huge influence on that. But what unites them, what unites us, is the art we are focusing on. So this is very important. And despite all problems that we have, we see the goal, and we are taking care about artistic vision and artistic quality, and what makes
Do our best, and continue doing it. Ar turite dar ką nors papildyti, kas nors iš pašnekovų? Do you have something to add, or we can finalize? Labai ačiū, išgirdome daug gražių žodžių, iš tikrųjų galima tik tai pritarti, kad tai yra pati geriausia forma daryti tai, ką darom geriausiai, ir kurti tą meną, kurį kūrėme, pristatyti jų žiūrovam. Taigi kviečiame 5., 6. ir pačią paskutinę mėnesio dieną ateiti ir pasižiūrėti, ką sukūrė šie menininkai, kuriuos ką tik pristatėme jūsų dėmesiu. Ačiū labai.